Hello everybody, my name is Eric, and today we're going to be looking at a fake Roblox Executor. Now this one got mentioned because it's got a couple of interesting tricks. The obfuscation is sort of interesting. Also, this, because I don't use shared clipboards across my VMs for security reasons, this is, I can type out long URLs fine. For just mentally, I cannot ever remember how to spell this, just the way this is spelled. So that was kind of a novelty. So this is a bogus executor. This particular variant has actually been pulled down, at least for now, because the GitHub is still up, which means that Mr. Exani, not actually, I believe there's a real Roblox cheat developer who goes by that name. And of course, just a quick disclaimer, because YouTube's bots have been really aggressive lately, I do not endorse cheating, do not endorse hacking, do not endorse modifying things. It's an educational video showing you the harms of trying these kind of things. I assume most of you are smart enough to understand that. Let's take a look here. So this is a HTML file that is being served through GitHub pages, or at least was being. And what it has, we can of course see, pretty easy to mentally simulate HTML. So we got a title, something here, and then this is and then ultimately we get a link to a download button. We give a free executor made with passion to others for free, so other exploiters can use it instead of paying for others. I don't know. I don't know about that. Now, there was actually a GitHub release by an Exani that, as far as I know, was legitimate, but this guy has nothing to do with the other guy. The file is taken down, but of course, I still have it. It's on Triage and other sample sites. It's on my sample server. It's on AnyRun, so you can definitely get it. And let's take a look at what we've got here. So we've got exaniexploit.exe, and of course, it's got a description that implies what you would think it would be. And now let's go on over. Let's see what VirusTotal has to say about this juicy program. Let's see if this is gonna finally make it, so I don't have to get good at Roblox. So it's got very low detections, which is not actually all that meaningful. Now Icarus here has at least labeled this correctly, and Google has actually gotten a lot better. I think they deserve. I've criticized some of the things they've done cybersecurity wise, but in terms of the Chrome antivirus engine, I think they've actually done some really good work. But basically, nobody is detecting. Now, a lot of these, like Bitdefender and some of the very expensive ones, like CrowdStrike, of course, would actually detect this behaviorally, but Windows Defender doesn't currently, and there's no community. One thing I just thought I would mention is I have seen a trend on these, especially on these fake gaming, but I could see it spreading elsewhere, where someone will make a VirusTotal account to shill. They will say, worked great for me, no virus, or false positive, or something like that. Do check whose comments you're looking at. So here we go. Now, this hasn't gone super viral yet, but let's take a look. So now if we run it, pretty immediately we see every malware victim's worst nightmare. You never, ever want to have just downloaded something and the only thing that happens is a blinking command prompt. That is a very bad sign. So let's do a bit more analysis. First of all, let's put this through Detect It Easy. See, all right. Now we have got some Rust here. Now Rust is a notoriously difficult language to statically analyze, but let's just take a quick look. Let's see what it does. Now, I'm going to use sysinternals. Unlucky for me, while Rust is very difficult to analyze, there isn't actually a lot of Rust work going on here. We'll kill this one and we'll see exactly what's going on. Oh, it doesn't like that. It doesn't like that one bit. That's another sign that you're running legitimate software, is when you when you start to get the panic from running. But at least that pass only runs once, so it's not as blatant as some of them. So let's see about that PowerShell command, because sandboxes pick up on a PowerShell command. Now, uploading this to a sandbox, we discover some interesting things. It's not a sponsored video, but I do actually like their product as well. So we'll just go over, and we'll go on over to script tracer, it's called, and we can actually get an idea of what this PowerShell does. So first of all, let's see what the command is. And there's an interesting trick here, and I'll show it. So we've got an encoded command, which of course, it's insanely rare to see base64 encoded PowerShell being used for anything other than malware. So we'll go on over to base64 decode, and we'll take a look at what exactly is going on here. Now, what is incredibly interesting is when you do the wrong UTF decode, you get interesting results. You need UTF-16 little endian to get the right one. Of course, if you're dealing with PowerShell, you should know that. But what you'll find within is another PowerShell string. And this one uses a different base64 decoder. And this one, note, and of course, if you're reading, you'd pay attention, but this one's got something rather interesting going on. Now, what happens if we were not paying attention? I'll simply put on the screen what it said, because for some reason it won't do it for me this second. But it gives a funny poem that could throw you off. There's some interesting, it's a bit like the other Unicode shenanigans video we made. There was some interesting tricks there that could fool an auto-detect algorithm. But if you correctly determine that this is UTF-8, we're now golden. So we've got automation type, and we've got Win32. So we're importing these, which are going to hide the window that we're currently in. And then here we've got another PowerShell script that is called, that appears to be an anti-analysis script. So now let's take this binary apart and see if we can find anything super useful in there. And now I'm just hooking the create process with x64 debug so we can get a better idea of the step-by-step. So we got PowerShell, no logo, interactive, execution policy, bypass, and then we got, and of course, because this is wide character, that's why it looks that way. So we can see there's probably not any unwrapped strings, but this is the only function that leads to create process W. So depending on whether they're using a relatively native abstraction or they're using Windows Rust, we can actually see any traces of that, because you can generally figure out what crate someone has installed in a Rust binary quite easily. And we can quickly see there's no traces for keywords that would be in the string. Now, I thought it'd be interesting because it doesn't really like the traditional analysis tools, so I thought, all right, we'll just throw in a little Python script. Did a bit of work, had O1 cook this up, and I should probably do DeepSeek next time, but we'll see how this one works. Script looks good, because I'm not clear on what the next stage is doing. It's either the PowerShell script is doing something we're not seeing. Okay. So what I'm trying to figure out is this PowerShell script is doing something. Let me just see if anything's running, because we'll just leave the Python monitoring system in the background because it's not causing us any harm. Updater. Oh, is that? Yeah, I don't like npcmd run because that's usually trying to turn off antivirus. Should have probably designed the script to put the whole directory, actually. That would have been smart. If anyone wants the script, I just used pastebin to send it to the VM, so if anyone wants it, no copyright claim to have at it. Well, I guess there's another way we could test that. Yeah, let's just run, because this kills proc exp. Something really interesting is the way that C# in PowerShell code works. It actually creates a CS and it compiles all of that. When I was tracing this out in a sandbox, it's just sort of, for all the things you say about Microsoft, they do have a lot of kind of cool and interesting tech, and they do support a lot of tech. Okay. We'll kill this one, because the PowerShell should only hide the window. So we'll see if it does anything else. Okay, well, given there's a possibility of packing, let's just see what happens. Let's just try a very rough Skylar dump. We hook this, meaning the payload will get to run up until that point. And we can go on over here. Yeah, and that does do what it says. They're not dealing with the packed binary so far. This is kind of a funny reaction when a process kills its own debugger, because the process will be perpetually frozen, because you actually can't do that. Okay, now we're getting a better picture of what's going on here. So we got basically what looks like batch file malware with a call to Wimic, which of course doesn't exist on the latest version. And the reason you get these weird paths is because different stuff will be in the system path, and it checks every single one internally. Now, because Wimic is deprecated on this version of Windows, that command is not yielding anything positive. So I'm just sort of getting an overview of the crates in this project. It's definitely quite something. Now, I tried this before with fewer cores, but now that I've given this 32 cores instead of 4, I'm hoping the Binary Ninja debugger might be able to do what the... let's just see if this will work. I'm just trying to figure out the scaffolding of these functions. Reality is, reverse engineering Rust right now is an absolute pain. It won't be forever because there's actually a lot of information. There's some really annoying stuff like inlining that is quite tricky to pick out on optimized Rust. Okay, so we're not going to get... So dynamic seems to be a bit tricky. So I'm going to... I do have an idea of how we could fix that, but I'm going to take a look. We're now in the work VM. Which means we got the licensed Binary Ninja. And also you may think, well, isn't it a bit dangerous to be using this on VM with your real stuff? That is where our friends at ThreatLocker come in. This VM is secured by ThreatLocker, which of course means won't be executing this, but we have no risk of accidentally executing malware. Not a sponsored mention in this case, just a product actually doing its job. So it means we can use plugins like Rust String Slicer to get a more sane approach to that. So I'm sort of just tracing out what's happening here. Now, I believe the magic, after playing around with this a bit more, is just threading. I don't think there's any really creative anti-debug here because it's not checking the debug status. It's just killing certain processes, which is why things that are not debuggers are getting killed. So I'm just kind of tracing around this. Now, the way you do this, and of course, if you can use the plugin, but that's kind of breaking on me right now. So what I'm just going to do, I have gotten all my Rust strings loaded properly. What we can do is we can say, all right, we got create process W. So the thing that calls it, I'm just going to call that Nefify wrapper because that's just calling that. That's all it's doing. This is just a bunch of memory management code that ultimately calls this and does nothing else of value. So we'll scroll up from that. And now we've got, we look at what calls this, and there are two functions. In fact, there's only one in sudo C, but, so why are we getting... Okay, no, actually, I just got... It's like those crypto scams where the middle address is different. So let's just check what these do. If there's two unique calls that actually do something, that's probably the end of it. Okay, so what are you doing? It could be some sort of... This does still look like API code. And it does have enough arguments that it plausibly could still work with this wrapper, because that's just getting passed through. That's the other thing we can check for. We'll see about this one. And this one does as well. Then we've got some symbols because I did some symbol generation actually for a different Rust reverse engineering project. Deno.hostname. Also try and see what this might be. Oh, that's interesting. So there was a period where I thought this could be a Towery app, which is another Rust Electron type of thing, because it's definitely got Tokyo. Okay. Let's just confirm that our Deno project. Now we're kind of gonna gamble. We're gonna see, okay, can we... so there's a virtual file system here. So the question is, can we relatively easily try to extract that? Okay, well, we're definitely making progress. So, and of course, one of the things is when you use a hex editor and a disassembler, and I actually learned something today. I thought GPT was hallucinating. But no, apparently you can just append data to the back of PE files and nobody cares. So, okay. Now, what does seem to have been a hallucination is the idea that, well, maybe these bytes are the size. So yeah, what they actually did, okay, well, it's still obfuscated. We can, that's, okay, I'm feeling AGI'd at this point. That was like, now what I figured out is I think they've actually... because there was a difference in the PE header of the test file and this one. So I'm going to take advantage of that padding X, which I think is how the parser actually works, because I think this guy did try one trick. But I think we're going to win. Okay, I think I did something funny with autocorrect. That's actually hilarious. Or autocomplete, yeah. Like the one time where I would actually not mind case sensitivity. Ooh, now we've got... pretty much exactly what we wanted. Now we've got to skip this crap. And then it looks like from here until the end of the file is actually the code. Definitely one of those videos that I thought was going to be, I don't know, there's like, sometimes you think you've got like the easiest job ever, And then this actually ends up being genuinely like, it's not the hardest job I've ever done, but it was like, this wasn't a 5-minute job. Okay, so we'll try deobfuscator IO. I like to combine them. I like to combine, because a good deobfuscator will get things cleaner, and it'll also get you less code. And then we can work that into, oh, actually, we may not. Okay. Wow, I was going to say that we could work that into GPT, but we actually don't need GPT. We can just do this. This deobfuscator IO is actually insanely good. So, and now we have got everything. It's like when people ask me what video games I play, I actually don't play a lot of video games anymore because, I find doing this kind of stuff is just way more rewarding. It's like, this took some time, but now we have defeated this malware. So let's go through what's really going on. So we've got, this could be a character set. Yeah. Okay. Then we've got PowerShell. So this is the PowerShell. And I noticed this actually when I was doing some decoding. And I saw, oh, there's some Spanish. So that could tell us something about where the threat actor is from. This is anti-analysis code. And let's see. This is, I believe, our big boy. We'll check that. This is hiding the C Windows graphics, which is where this thing moves itself. And we've got 7-zip. And then we've got another stage. Actually, I don't know if this is another stage or this is just, no, this is just 7-zip. Some sort of an execution being run. It's actually a deno.run that calls all of this. Now we've got a paste bin. Oh, so here's where one of our 7-zip files is coming from. Go file is a common source, and this is going to be called system.exe. Check there's no other Go files. And this looks like some sort of Python malware. I don't know why all the dependencies are shipped with a PyInstaller.exe. That's a really unusual configuration. Of course, you can always... And you got to be careful with this, but you can defang a Windows executable with .bin. It's a good idea if you're dealing with malware on a Windows computer. Better idea is have some sort of security that makes sure it doesn't execute, because there is always the risk. Someone actually posted a really sad message in my Discord because they tried this. Okay, so we'll upload this on VirusTotal. And they, for whatever reason, tried to open something in Notepad with CMD, not realizing that could lead to an execution. So let's see what VirusTotal says about you. This could be, because the person said this was a Nutka package. This could be the Nutka package. And we'll also put this on any run. Oh, we actually can't. Okay. Well, we could, there's ways of making that happen, but so I think this, the compressed version does fit to my knowledge. Now that is a Nutka. It's got some other things. And this has got layers of anti-analysis so that this doesn't execute on a VM. I mean, this has plenty of stuff to make sure. It's got that wimit command, which ironically defeated my totally stealth VM because it was running Windows 11 and just didn't have it. Is the risk malware developers run with trying to stop VMs? And this file is also unseen to VirusTotal, which is not usual. Now, given how Nutka works, this is technically valid code. So, like C++, it's not a packer. It's actually a transpiler. So we could technically work with this in Binary Ninja. But just like with dealing with Delphi and other like not as common compiled languages, the syntax can end up being a bit verbose. Just it looks a bit weird because it doesn't use all of the calling conventions that a decompiler is used to. Oh, this thing sure loves wimit.exe because now we're potentially getting a detection on video controller get name. We've got, well, we've always got static analysis. They can't take that one away. Now I just want to see what the main composition of this binary is. Okay, yeah, there's just a bunch of zeros. I mean, I kind of knew that was it because it's not going to be, getting to 100 megabytes on a binary is really, really hard. I'd be doing something kind of crazy. I don't know why it says it's too big to be loaded in memory. It's like I have a lot of memory on this VM. Just trying to see if we've got Wimix strings, we're good. If we don't, then we've got to figure out, oh no, we do. Okay, that's actually funny. I think this happens a lot with the later stages, especially with like younger malware devs. It's like at some point, there was a lot of passion at the beginning and now we're kind of bored. So things are not quite, and given the speed of running that kind of analysis, we also have the option of using just using a simple string search, which is a lot faster, until the analysis is done. We can... Oh, I just found the deny list. So yes, this is how they do the anti... they have a list of things, not the most sophisticated technique, but it's actually very annoying. So I guess I can't fault them too much. So we got water... Why would... That doesn't... Oh, maybe not all of the... Oh, right, because you got to kill those to run an info stealer. Let me check if there's any Discord. Oh, of course it's a webhook. Oh, maybe it's not a webhook. Oh, yeah, this is some pretty... Okay, we've got this figured out. This is some sort of Spanish info stealer activity. So, that's going to be all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a fun one. There was a lot of stuff here that I hadn't seen before, so thank you to Way2 for bringing this to my attention. This was a cool payload to look at. I can't promise I will check everything, but look, if you either go on the Discord and you put it in suggestions, or you can email me or contact me wherever, I really do appreciate people sending me stuff. It really does. It's really interesting. So thanks for watching, and thanks to everyone who contributes. Bye.